Ngaqala.
Okay, so you want to know sesikhuluma ngesizulu konje?
Singakhuluma nje uhlanganise kodwa
Hlanganisa
kungcono uma
konke.
kuyisingisi ngoba phela ngithi ngizobe
Oh, okay. Cha kulungile ngizosho ke ukuthi ubaba mkhulu waqhamuka esuka eThekwini ngo-1892 weze laphana Eshowe ezosebenza lapha esitolo sika-Brunner's store.
okay.
That was then when he got married in 1895, and their firstborn was born in 1986, the same time as the school. The only school in Eshowe was started in 1896, and the British soldiers built the beautiful oval in Eshowe, which is surrounded by forests, which was used by the MCC, English cricket team, in 1925, and again with the Australians in 1948. They played on that beautiful ground. The hospital was built in 1898. It was called Queen Victoria Hospital, and that was where the main things, that was called Main Street in Eshowe. So everything happened in Main Street.
The name of the hospital has not changed. Is it still?
No, well, you see, what's happened is that the hospital has been, a new hospital was built elsewhere at Tukangela Street.
Okay.
And that hospital is a very, very much bigger hospital now. So the school, where was the only school back in those days, I went to that school. There is now the junior school, a beautiful school there that you can see. So it's now the junior school. The senior school's gone up to also Kongela Street, where the hospital is. It's the longest street in Eshowe, beautiful street. So yes, that is a little bit of the history. Then my grandfather was able to put his name down for the farm, and they came out to the farm in 1906. And of course, that was when the Bambata Rebellion was on, so everybody had to go. What happened was that the women and children were put in the jail, and they were looked after. No, don't. No, I see. No, don't. Yeah, that's better.
Thanda ukudlala.
Yes, she wants. Oh, Nancy Abuya, man. She.
No, siqhubeka ayikho inkinga.
The trouble is he'll knock over your. So this is what happened in the old days of Eshowe, and the police station was there, the post office was there, the cathedral, the St. Michael's Cathedral. It was a little church back in those days. It was all built in 1896. So a lot of things happened in 1896. Then I was with the Bambata Rebellion. So all the women and children were put into the jail so as to protect them. The men folk all had to go and defend the town in case the impis came through. So there was quite a lot of things that took place then. And then, of course, you see the troops eventually surrounded Bambata and his men up at the Morme Gorge at Nkandla.
Yeah.
So that's another piece of history that's very
And also
important.
you directed me to the Leopard rock caves up there.
Yes, well, that's when my grandfather on my mother's side, they started out here. They built their home in 1910. It was a corrugated iron home with wooden panels inside. It's still like that today. And my daughter lives there. She runs the farm now. I have two sons. They are working up in Dundee at the moment for a dairy up in Dundee, Orange Grove Dairy. And my other daughter, they are identical twin daughters. She's in Cape Town. She runs a big restaurant in Hout Bay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the family. My father was, my mother was born at the farm, Croysdale. They called it Croysdale because originally they came out from Nottingham. I beg your pardon, not Nottingham, Yorkshire. The Yorkshire Dales, and Croys is the Saxon word for cross. So it's a cross and a dale, where the hills, the beautiful hills there. You'll see the hills at the back there of the farm. So she was born in 1911. When my father was born, he was born in 1906 at Kazagazi.
1906, yeah.
Yeah, 1906 at Kazagazi. And his father was a missionary. He lived amongst the Zulu people. He spoke Zulu, was his first language. He went to school with the Zulu children with slates, learned to write and to read a little bit before he went to a school, proper school as it were, when he was 11 years old. So he was born and bred and looked after the cattle with the other Abafana from the area, and he also stayed at St. Luana for a long time as well. So he was very much part of the Zulu people in that area. No, stop it now, stop it. When he came, eventually my grandfather, the priest, missionary, was sent to Kwamakwaza up in Melmoth. He started the hospital there, St. Mary's Hospital, and then he was posted to Eshowe at St. Michael's. He was there from 1917 to 1927, when the bishop posted him back up at Masocheni at St. Augustine's in Umutu, outside the Umutu area. And when he was there, he looked after that whole area, and he realized that they needed a hospital, so he started the hospital in Umutu called the Charles Johnson Memorial Hospital. So he got money from England to do these various things and help out. Schools were started at the places where he was a missionary. Kwamakwaza School was started in 1912. So there was a lot of things that were happening with those early missionaries. He came eventually with his parents to Eshowe in 1917, and he went to school because the church schools, the priests, missionary children could go there virtually free. So he was very fortunate that he was sent to Cornwallis in Pietermaritzburg and then Michaelhouse. So when he came back to Eshowe, he got a job, and it was a Natal Cotton Company down at Nkwaleni. They planted cotton in the beautiful Dugudugu area, not Dugudugu, Duganeni area, yeah, where the cotton was a magnificent crop of cotton. It looked like snow. But what happened was that they had a huge rain in May 1925, and it washed all the cotton bolls out, which created a real problem where the Natal Cotton Company had to close down. It went broke, and then he had to look for another job, and he found a job as a farm manager. And that's where he met my mother, who was born on the farm, Croysdale, in 1911. And she, during those times, they had rinderpest, they had East Coast fever, the cattle died. They had a very difficult time. She had to leave school. She couldn't go to school. She was taught by her elder sister at home. So the early pioneers, the early farmers did have very difficult times in the beginning like that. And then later on, my father met my mother, and that was when they got married in 1934. And they worked first of all at the Bangeni area, and then my mother was able to get from her father some money and bought